Hey guys, welcome back. Glenn with Old School Millennial. Today, as requested, I'm going to be doing a long-term review on my Husqvarna 550 Mark II. Okay, y'all, just to get into it, I'm going to talk about the reliability. I'm going to talk about some of the things that I like about this chainsaw, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about if there's anything that I would change on this chainsaw. So first off, in terms of the reliability on this chainsaw, I've had no reliability issues in terms of the engine and how this chainsaw runs. It's solid. The motor starts up every time. For me, it's like first or second pull for the most part. And in terms of the startup, I have a video on the startup procedure for this chainsaw. You can go check that out. Speaking of the startup, I really like how the startup switch, the choke switch, works on the 550. It just flips up, and then you hit the ignition, and then it bumps it down. It's just really easy to use. And then I love the kill switch on this as compared to the stills. You push down on the kill switch on this, which is natural, right? Whenever you're running a saw. And I like that part of it. So back to the reliability. The engine runs great. In terms of how it performs, its torque and just how fast it revs. I love how fast this chainsaw revs up to speed. It's just like instantaneous, just hits, it's very snappy, right? It just hits those high RPMs right away, just whenever you hit the trigger. So I really love how the engine runs on this thing. And then the torque on this thing is awesome. I've cut some big trees with this chainsaw, not ever run into any issues with it bogging down. I mean, it's really held up strong. In terms of the bar and chain, on this chainsaw, I run an 18-inch bar, similar to my 261. And they suggest 16 to 20 on these chainsaws. I find that the 18 is right in that sweet spot. I really love this chain and how it performs. It's a semi-chisel. It's the X-cut chain that comes with it. It being a semi-chisel, it's supposed to, and it does, last a lot longer in terms of sharpening. It holds its edge a lot longer, but it's as sharp as a full chisel. And I'm just saying, like, I don't know what it is about this chain, but it really performs really well. Another aspect that I like about this chainsaw, the flip caps. Okay, the flip caps on this, it never leaks. It has a great seal on the gas and the bar oil. I really like that, because when you have a chainsaw that leaks, it's constantly, you know, a maintenance thing, and you got grime and dirt building up around that part of the chainsaw. It's just makes it harder and more of a hassle. I love that this doesn't have that issue. The case on this thing is very sturdy. I've tossed this thing around and it hasn't had any issues. I do like that this handle is metal. It just seems more solid to me. I know that this weighs a little bit more than its competition, the 261, but honestly, I really don't feel it. And that goes to another thing, and I've touched on it in other videos, but the balance on this chainsaw is best in class. I just love how the balance on this chainsaw, it just performs. Mainly when you're limbing, this really comes into play because you're constantly moving back and forth to cut branches, and I just find that you can perform cutting the branches a lot faster with this chainsaw, and it just doesn't feel clumsy. It feels like everything is tight, and I just prefer this chainsaw whenever I'm limbing. If there's anything that I was going to change on this chainsaw, That's a hard one because this one pretty much is built how I would prefer a chainsaw in this class to be built. The adjustment for the clutch is in the clutch cover. One thing that I've noticed, if you compare it to its competition, it's a little bit more finicky. The tightening up the chain on this one as compared to other chainsaws in its class. It still works and everything works on it fine. If I were to change one thing, and that's really if I'm searching and really nitpicky, because this chainsaw is built honestly with perfection in mind. This is a solid chainsaw for anybody that is looking for a chainsaw in this class. This is top notch. But yeah, if I was only to change one thing, that might be it. But I don't even know that I would change anything on this thing. But sometimes whenever I'm thinking about chainsaws and if there was anything that I would change on them, what comes to mind, if any of you guys have seen the movie The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, there's a scene in that movie where the guy that is known as the Ugly, he goes to a gun shop and he's picking out a gun and he's trying to find the perfect one, and he picks out some of the best ones, but none of those are perfect, and he takes a barrel from one and then the trigger part, the handle off of another, and he kind of just puts all these into one and makes the perfect pistol, right? Sometimes I wish I could just do that with a chainsaw and just pick and choose and find and make the perfect chainsaw. But if I were to do that, this would be as close to that as you could find. Just turnkey. I really like how the engineers that put this together, they really did a good job on it throughout. And I'm sure that probably speaks to just long-term technology that they've done over the years. And I'm sure it's very similar to the 572. And then there's a 592 that's coming out that should be an awesome saw as well. That's what I've got for this chainsaw, and just my feelings on how it's performed so far. In the last video, I believe it was Mason Archer, you put down in the comments that you wanted to see a long-term review on this saw, so that's what I did. And if y'all have videos like this and that you'd like to see, be sure to put them down in the comments. And if y'all haven't followed my channel is about getting outdoors and working with tools and equipment, and so I have a lot of different videos about chainsaws and firewood. So be sure to go check those out, and I have more videos on this chainsaw if this is what you'd be interested in learning more about. But until next time, you guys, get outside and do something you love.